If everyone could take their seats, please.
Yeah.
Martha, would you close that door, please? The chair would like to call to order tonight's regular meeting of CUSD 201 Board of Education, September 12, 2017. And roll call?
Ms. Ambrose?
Here.
Mr. Armstrong?
Here.
Mrs. Charlton?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here.
Ms. Wilson? Here.
And I would like to welcome Judy McMahon back for a few weeks, so thank you. If we could stand for the pledge. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first thing on our agenda is the appointment of a new board member. I would just like to say that it was wonderful. We had 3 solid candidates apply. We had interviewed everyone, and we found Mr. Rick Strohmeyer meets the necessary qualifications and demonstrated the willingness to accept the duties and responsibilities of a board member and brings a clear understanding of the demands and expectations of being a board member as well. Rick and his wife have been in the Westmont community since 2006, and they have 4 children attending school in District 201. So if I can call Rick Strohmeyer up here for the oath of office, please. This is the easy one. Okay, please raise your right hand. I, Rick Strohmeyer,
I, Rick Strohmeyer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of member
the duties of the office of member
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education,
of Community Unit School District 201
Community Unit School District 201,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests
I shall respect taxpayer interests
by serving as a faithful protector
by serving as a faithful protector
of the school district's assets.
of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect
I shall encourage and respect
the free expression of opinion
the free expression of opinion
by my fellow board members
by my fellow board members
and others who seek a hearing before the board,
and others who seek a hearing before the board,
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that as a board member,
I shall recognize that as a board member,
one board member has no legal authority as an individual,
one board member has no legal authority as an individual,
and that decisions can be made
and that decisions can be made
only by a majority vote
only by a majority vote
at a public board meeting.
at a public board meeting.
And I shall abide
And I shall abide
by majority decisions of the board
by majority decisions of the board
while retaining the right
while retaining the right
to seek changes in such decisions
to seek changes in such decisions
through ethical and constructive channels.
through ethical and constructive channels.
Welcome to the board, Beth.
Thank you.
We're going to do a family picture because, this doesn't happen every day. So. You figure out how you want to do this. So Rick, there will be a nameplate for you at the next meeting. So now we will take the motion. Well, we swore you in already, so. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Richard Strohmeyer Jr. to the Board of Education of Community Unit School District 201 to fill the unexpired term of Mara Nutbush.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Ms. Ambrose?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes. Okay, now we'd like to do an introduction of the new CUSD 201 staff members. And we will start with Linda, if you could come on up, introduce yourself and your new staff, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Clowder from South School and also from Student Services, and it's my pleasure to formally introduce some of our new paraprofessionals. And when I call your name, if you'd come on up here and join me, that'd be great. And I'm also going to ask Lillian to come up, if that's all right, since we're all a South School family. Okay. All right, so I'd like to introduce Peggy Barrett. Peggy actually joined us at the end of the last school year, but she hadn't had the opportunity to participate in the board reception, so we invited her tonight. Welcome, Peggy. And Peggy is one of our early childhood staff members. She's working with Joan Stump. And then we have Ann Kletcher. Ann, if you'd come up, please. Ann has joined us this year, and she's working with Lillian Sy, and we're very happy to have Ann with us as well. Deborah Davis is new with us. She wasn't able to join us this evening, but I would like to recognize her, at least by acknowledging her name. We have Miranda Spall, who's in our state pre-K program. She's working with Jill Deck. And then we have Marianne Wilser, who is in our early childhood program in Joan Stump's room. And those are our new South School staff members. So welcome.
Oh, I'm going anyway.
And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce my colleague, Tim Weiler, and he will introduce staff from Miller. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to a wonderful start to the new school year. A couple members that are not here tonight. We have two dual language teachers, one that was not hired at this time last year, Veronica Sanchez. She's our first grade dual language teacher. She was invited but could not make it due to her kids' school function. And then Miss Vanessa Offray is our fourth grade dual language teacher, and she couldn't make it due to a church function tonight. But those are two of our new teachers this year. And then two TAs that we hired for our dual language special ed students in the building is Linda Melendez. She works with our kindergarten students, and then Mr. Manny Alvarez is also a parent at Miller, so he's got some buy-in on a couple different ends. But those are four people that are not here. I do have the honor and privilege to share the next two staff members with other buildings in the district, so I'm truly honored. Miller's honored, and I know the other schools are honored as well. Our first shared staff member is Mr. Dan Wolf. He's a PE teacher at Miller. He is at Miller in the morning and then heads over to the high school in the afternoons, and then finishes up with the football team on the practice field and nights at games. So welcome aboard. Doing a great job. And then our other staff member that's here tonight is Mrs. Britta Wazak, and she's our new assistant principal, which we love having the extra support at both Miller and Manning this school year, and is a wonderful teammate. Both are excellent additions to Miller Elementary School in the school district. So welcome aboard. And it is with honor I would like to introduce Manning's new principal, Lindsay Peterzak.
So on the journey together, I am new as well. We have two paraprofessionals joining us. They work with our kindergarten students. So if Barb Cernak could come up, excuse me. And also Karen Krockmolny. They work with our kindergarten students. We hired a new special education teacher, Kyle Sellers. And then Britta gets double duty because she's also with Manning. We're excited to have her. So you can join our group photo, yes. And these are the new additions to Manning. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Jack Balderman.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to be here. We have so many wonderful new people that joined our staff. First of all, a new assistant principal who has a specialty in math, which we're really very appreciative of, and he has a tremendous work ethic. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Joseph. Very proud of Ms. Peterzak's promotion, and so we had to replace her position over at the high school coordinator of teaching and learning, Ms. Megan Vervink. Great to have Megan on board. We had just close to 100 applications for our science position, and we feel like we got the best candidate, no doubt. Our first choice actually 2 years in a row, but the first year he couldn't come to us. But this year he did, so we're very proud to introduce in our science department, Daniel Finlayson. As Mr. Weiler said, we're splitting and very fortunate to have a new member of our physical education staff and also our new head football coach who has a winning record right now. So we're, Dan Wolf once again, please. We had a late science opening, and we were very fortunate to get a very dedicated individual who's teaching a couple sections of earth science and also serving as a teaching assistant, Alexa Pikarczyk. In our family and consumer program, we had an extremely late opening, but if we would have had a year, we couldn't have found somebody better. She's really doing a great job stepping in and helping us also as a TA, the head of our family and consumer science program, Debbie Bolger. We have also a wonderful addition to our teaching assistant staff, Kathleen Pletcher. And even though this person is extremely veteran and given many, many years of wonderful teaching service and coaching service to our district, we do have a new athletic director, and she's off to an outstanding start, Rainey Kaplan. Can we get a picture of her?
Big family.
Kick line.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Are we a go for one more, Mr. Carey?
Yes, we would love
So,
it.
just to give you some fun, and our teachers, I'm very grateful. The last few years, we tried to start the school year sending a message to our students that we're so glad to have them back and to give some energy to them and to have some fun. So we put together a little video, and this year's video is really a very nice one. It's very fun, and as I say, I think it sends a message of warmth and excitement and really shows how much we love our students. So I won't say any more, but you get to view our opening of the year video that we played for our students when they came in after the first week.
Miss Hoopman, Miss Hoopman!
What? Can't you see I'm jamming to my summer tunes?
But school's starting soon.
What? Already? Wait, does that mean I get to work with the best students on the planet, the Westmont High School students?
Yeah.
Well, it's about time. Westmont High School students, I love you all. Can't wait to see you walk through my door.
Now that I finally have the whole English...
Sorry, it's on a little bit of a layout here.
It's fine.
Now that I finally have the whole English department together, why do you guys feel like English is so essential to our school's success?
You know, it's funny you should ask that.
Okay, now here's the deal. I'll try to educate you. Gonna familiarize you with the nomenclature. You'll learn the definitions of nouns and prepositions. Literacy's your mission.
How you doing, Mr. Chamberlain?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good to see you.
So what's your favorite thing about teaching science?
Well, actually, salsa! Everything is cool when you're part of the team.
Hola, Senor Joseph. Good afternoon.
Hola, señorita. What do you love about teaching?
Every day for us something new. When I walk in my class, this is what I see. All my students working, solving inequalities. I've got math on my brain, and I ain't afraid to show it.
Hi, Miss Faco. Hi, Miss Therese. How was your summer?
Hey, good. How was yours?
Good.
Welcome to Westmont.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for your media center patrons for this upcoming school year?
Just put your paws up, 'cause you were born this way, baby.
I think it's a great time to learn some grammar. Now did I stammer?
Hey guys, so how do you feel about the fine arts department for this school year?
I think the best way for us to describe it is using our creativity.
My mama told me when I was young, we're all superstars.
Hey, how's it going? So what do you guys got going on for history this year?
All my friends know the low rider. The low rider is a little higher. I'm a math geek and I know it.
Are you excited about the new school year?
Hey, Mr. Weck. I'm really curious about the results from last year from all the testing. How did the kids do?
That's a great question, Mr. Irvin. I don't know if you know this or not, and Mr. Baldwin likes to keep this a secret, but Westmont High School actually is the #1 most improved school in the country because of the AP results.
Ooh, just like a certain Chicago sports team was the most improved last year. Go Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go!
Thank you for letting us. We take our academics very seriously. We think it's important that the kids come in happy, relaxed, excited, and pumped up. So staff is very willing to do whatever it takes. So that's just one example of it. So thank you for letting us show that.
Thank you for bringing that. That was very good. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the meeting. Really? That's going to be hard to follow. So. All right, now, I know you all want to stay, but this would probably be a time, unless you want to see the approval of the minutes, so.
I think the approval of the minutes is very exciting.
It's very exciting. You
Very
think it's very
exciting.
exciting?
I'm excited
Okay.
about it.
All right. Depends on what date it is. I wasn't here on the 20th.
They didn't have any, say Joni?
The dates are on it, right?
Yeah,
Oh, you don't have it.
I already looked at it. I can look it up on my phone.
Because it's got attendance on it.
Okay, now we'll move on to the approval of minutes. August 15. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 15, 2017 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Joel abstained. Does Rick have to do anything?
You should abstain.
Okay, and then abstain, okay. All right, motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the August 15, 2017 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any abstain? I mean, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
You're abstaining.
No, I was here. 29th.
August 15th. Closed?
No.
August 29th.
Well, I just did,
All
I
right, hang
just
on, I'm looking at the
did
wrong
the
one.
August 15 closed session.
Hold on 1 second.
I would think that,
Yes,
so you're abstaining. Okay, so 2 abstain. So that motion carries. Okay. August 29, 2017 Superintendent Evaluation Committee. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 29, 2017 meeting of the Superintendent Evaluation Committee as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
I don't think you guys had, did we talk about this?
Yeah. Shoot.
But there were only 3 there.
Right.
So everybody could, as long as, right? So you can say yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
This is going off good.
This
isn't
is
it?
going swimmingly.
Going really. And there's only 1 new board member, so. Okay, August 29th, Superintendent Evaluation Committee closed session. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the August 29, 2017 meeting of the Superintendent Evaluation Committee as presented. All in favor?
So moved. Second first.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting passed. August 29th, special meeting. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 29, 2017 special meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Now that one you can
I say,
Abstain.
I abstain.
And then,
She can make the motion.
yeah, you can make the motion.
Oh, okay.
And then,
I
well,
abstain.
actually, you have to abstain since.
Abstain.
Okay. Motion carried. The
Got
chair
it
will
for
entertain,
sure.
this is supposed to be the easiest part of the meeting. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the August 29, 2017 special meeting with the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
I abstain.
Start this over.
No, we don't want to start over.
This is so hard
Yeah,
tonight.
we'll go back to the video. Okay, are there any public comments? All right, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Personnel recommendations. Employment of support staff, Lisa Rocks, general food service worker, Westmont Junior High. Number 2, appointment of hearing officer. Number 3, appointment of non-discrimination coordinators, complaint managers. 4, approval of additional August 2017 expenditure report. 5, approval of Westmont High School pool rental, Academy Bullets. 6, approval of Westmont High School pool rental, Ultimate Swimming Incorporated. And 7, student tour requests.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please, Mr. McMahon?
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Ambrose,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. Okay, the first item for discussion is update on tax increment financing the TIF district revenue.
Right, in the board book, I have attached the payments that we received to date. So we've received the first 3 years of payments, which total $38,000. And the projected TIF payments when the village created the TIF, we would have received, they projected that we would have received $399,000 right now. So that's a difference of about $361,000 less. So obviously the TIF is not moving along as projected. And then for year 4, they're projecting that we would receive $379,000. So we're at least probably a year or 2 behind in where their projections were. And so we will receive another payment at the end of December. So I can update you then, and so we can kind of see where we're at with things. But and just for people's refresh their information, they're estimated that we would get $15 million from the TIF over the life of the TIF. So we've got a little ways to go.
Thank you for that. Okay, then the next item is presentation of monthly financial statements.
Okay, so we have the June financial statements attached for you this month. So the district received $391,000 from the state during the month of June. There were $484,000 worth of fiscal year 17 payments vouchered but not released at the end of the school year. The state owes the district for 2 quarters of mandated categoricals at that point in time. And to date, we're still waiting on the 4th quarter payments. So they are significantly behind from where they have been in the past. Typically, there's only 1 outstanding in June, and then by now we would have received all 4. So, and then this year we received 3 installments of the 2016 tax levy in June. Typically, we receive 2, but total collections were comparable. The 3 equal what the 2 would be in prior years. So we've collected $11.7 million to date, which was 50.88%, and that's comparable to the prior 2 years. Overall, revenues were slightly below the averages compared to the prior years. Again, $390,000 of fiscal 17 payments we received during the month, and we're waiting on $253,000 of those in the Ed Fund. In the Transportation Fund, we're waiting on $248,000 for the Transportation Fund. So again, the timing of the state payments in the cause of variations from year to year. And again, in the Transportation Fund, our revenues are below projections on the cash basis. And then our expenditures in the Ed Fund, again, we came in under budget on the expenditure side. They're comparable to our prior year average. We typically do come in under budget on our expenditure side. In the O&M fund, it was 77.6% spent for the year. Last year it was 87% spent. We had budgeted for some capital projects or capital expenditures that we did not actually purchase this year, which are going to roll into next year's budget. So that's why our spending was a little bit lower this year than it had been in the past, and because of all the projects that we had done at all the schools over the last summer and that kind of finished up during the year. So, and then our Transportation Fund, we did finally receive the majority of our invoices from Septran, so we did get them paid. Although you can see that our spending was a lot lower than prior years, there still were a few transportation bills outstanding at the end of the year that didn't hit this fiscal year. So they will, of course, go into next fiscal year. So that's where we wound up overall for the year. In the Ed Fund, fund balance did decrease by $186,000. which was less than we had anticipated, which was good, but still our expenditures outpaced revenues on a cash basis. And then overall, in our operating funds, though, we were positive by $306,000 on the cash basis. And then our auditors were just in and working on getting everything finished up for the audit. The other reports are attached. Does anybody have questions?
I just have a quick one. You say here that the state owes the district for 2 quarters of mandated categorical payments, which is not typical at this point of the year. Could that simply just be because of fun or confusion that's been going on in Springfield over the summer?
Yeah, well, no, that's not really part of it. That's not part of it, because that was the last year's budget. I think it's just, getting money out. I'm sure.
Typical for what the state, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, they've been late every year for probably the past 4 or 5 years, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, easy.
Yeah, at least. And so, but sometimes it's only 1 payment, sometimes it's been 2. But never as of, this point in September have we still been waiting for 1 more payment. I think if it was quite a few years ago,
Okay.
so.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
There's a couple of items in my report. One is typically at this time of year, we do an enrollment update. We look at what our enrollment was at the end of the school year in June 2007, and then where we're at after the 6th day of school. And you can see that we're up with our early childhood program with 11 students, but all of our other buildings, there may be some fluctuation within grade levels, but we're pretty much starting the year with the same number of students we ended the year. So that was interesting.
I was going to ask, I was sure about that. I mean, that seemed pretty weird to me.
This is as of the 6th day. We'll, see as the year goes on. And then also, I also included for you the average class sizes for K through 5. You can see that they're in very good shape. There's plenty of room for additional seats, and it's well within our district guidelines. So we're very happy with that. Then another item, once again this year, we have what I refer to as our district joint committee, which is actually made up of several subcommittees. We have a strategic plan committee, facility committee, finance committee, climate committee, and PR committee. And all those committees are open to the public as well as our own 201 employees. And so any community members who are listening to this, they are invited to participate in any one of these committees. Our first joint committee meeting will be November 7th at 6:30 p.m. and we always meet, start in the high school commons. And typically what we do is we greet everyone. There's usually some opening comments, and then each of the groups breaks off and starts to continue their work from previous years. And then at the end of the evening, we bring everybody back to give updates. And we've done this the last couple of years. It does 2 things for us. One is it makes sure that we're all focused on the same things as a district. We're all pulling in the same direction, and that we're also not duplicating efforts, so that if one group is picking up on an initiative, the other groups can support it, but they don't necessarily have to run with that initiative as well. So hopefully we'll get many people attending those.
Kevin, can I ask you, if this year, if you could send out an email to everyone in the district?
Sure.
Just because we've been doing it a couple years, and I know there's been at least 11 new family members.
Sure. Sure.
Just to reiterate to everybody what we do and that, just so people, I know people that have been coming year after year, but maybe there would be other people that would like to be interested, involved. Thank you.
We can do that. And then this is an annual thing that happens this time of year. The various schools have scheduled all their events, student recognition and different events throughout the year. And then there's a list for board members to sign up if they would like to be present at those events. And then included are also the graduations as well. So that form will be available for board members later this evening to sign up for those events you'd like to participate in. Under communications, first, again, kind of continuing the good news, the Washington Post always publishes their challenge index, which ranks the most challenging high schools in Illinois and nationally. And this year, our high school is ranked 4th for the state of Illinois. and it's the highest ranking we have ever received. Nationally, we're ranked 191 out of 28,000 high schools, which puts us well in the top 1% of schools in the country. And while we are challenging our students, making the curriculum more rigorous, at the same time, we have a 99% graduation rate. And in the last 4 years, our African American students and Latino students have had a 100% graduation rate. So. And then one last item with regards to school funding. Gary, you mentioned this, and you know, last time we had a meeting, there was still no funding mechanism in place, no legislation passed. The state did pass a funding mechanism, and we're still waiting to see exactly. They haven't published anything for school districts to look at, but it's guaranteed no school districts will lose money as a result of it. My guess is we'll gain a little bit of money, not a lot, but some of the different parts of this legislation. One is that they do have a scholarship program now for private schools to assist low-income families, and for individuals or corporations that make a donation to the scholarship fund, there's a tax credit. And it's somewhat trying to get to a voucher system without actually having to use state funds to fund that program. The other thing that was a little scary at one time, they were looking at TIF districts and how TIF districts were going to be viewed at, which would definitely, because we have the central business TIF, would have had a negative impact in our district. They more or less tabled that, and instead they're going with a committee to take a look at TIF districts and how that would impact schools and their funding from the state. So at this juncture, we don't need to worry about that. And then the other piece is that the state has determined an adequate funding level, an adequacy target that districts that fall below the target, they're going to receive additional funding. Districts that are at or above the target, again, they're not going to take money away from districts. But there is a caveat that if a district is 110% above that funding adequacy level, that the community could have a referendum. If you get, is it 5%, 10% of the legal voters, they could have a referendum then to ask to have the taxes lowered, but it can't be more than that 10%. Right now, average, and again, we're waiting for specific information for individual school districts, but on average, DuPage County is at about 100%, 106%, so still below 110%. But it's not until we get those final numbers that we'll know. And then there was a little bit, you know, one of the things that we struggle with are the unfunded mandates from the state or partially funded mandates from the state. And they did give a little bit of relief with daily physical education. School districts can now reduce that to 3 times a week. And then you can go with a third party to provide driver's education. You don't necessarily have to do it in-house. And then the waiver process, we really haven't had a lot of waivers in our district, but they streamlined that process to make it less cumbersome for school districts. So Kim and I were planning on providing, once we kind of get more information, planning on sharing with the board exactly what that impact will be for our school district.
Thank you, Kevin. I asked Kevin to at least update everybody because when we last spoke at our last meeting, we didn't know what funding. We still really kind of don't know exactly, but at least we are moving along. So thank you for that. Okay.
Marie, before we move on, Kevin, do you want to give an update about Rachel's Challenge? Because that's next week, right?
Right. Rachel's Challenge, if the board remembers, I think it was 3 years ago, we were looking for something to assist with climate in our buildings and character education. And we had a committee look at various programs, and what they recommended to the board was Rachel's Challenge, which we brought it on board 3 years ago. And we had assemblies at each of our buildings. We had a community-wide event to kind of explain to families what Rachel's Challenge is. And it's basically a young girl who was a victim of the Columbine shootings. But when they looked at her journals, much of what she wrote about is how important it is how we treat one another. and we can't take that for granted. And so it's kind of living up to her. She made a pledge that she was always going to treat people, regardless if she knew them, had any relationship with them, she was always going to treat them well. And regardless of how she was treated in return, she was always going to be positive with people. And so the challenge then is for students and school districts to take on that same challenge and pledge to operate in the same vein. And so we also agreed that, you know, every few years, it would be a good idea to kind of reauthorize it so that as students turn over in our buildings and as it, to just refresh our students' memories, our minds. And so next, the 18th and 19th, the school-wide assemblies will take place in each of the buildings. The message is a little bit different at the K-5 level than it is at the junior high and the high school level. They take into account the age of the students. And then there's, again, the community-wide event that all community members are invited to on the 19th at 7 o'clock in the high school auditorium. It's recommended, because the presentation is geared for adults, it's recommended that students 7th grade and older, it's fine for them to attend with their parents, but younger children really shouldn't attend with their parents, but we are providing babysit child care with our NHS students and then our student council at the junior high. So there will be students there to provide child care, but again, we're hoping that we get a nice turnout at the 19th event.
It's an outstanding message. People should hear it. It really is. I remember it's very moving.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Are there any board reports?
I just have one. All you football fans out there, the homecoming game actually has the opportunity to be played on Comcast Sportsnet. So if you have a Twitter account, please go out there, go to Comcast Sportsnet CSN Preps, and vote for Westmont High School to be on, have their game. It would be a live presentation, right, Randy? Yeah, live TV for the homecoming game. That'd be awesome. So let's get out there and vote for Westmont.
Okay. Are there any public comments? All right, then, future meetings and events. The junior high school curriculum night, September 13th at 6 o'clock at Westmont Junior High. And then the homecoming parade, this Thursday, September 14th at 6:30, it starts at 6:30 at Cass in Naperville. And then Friday is the homecoming game, and that's at 7 o'clock, or is it 7 or 7:30?
7.
7. And I would like to announce that the football team is 2-1, so we're starting off the year very, very nicely. Then Rachel's Challenge community event, that's September 19th at 7 o'clock at the Westmont High School. Then the College and Financial Aid Information Night, September 21st at 6:30 at Westmont High School. Miller School Ice Cream Social, September 22nd, 6:30 at Miller School. And the next school board meeting, September 26th at 7 o'clock here at Westmont Village Hall. Okay, the chair will enter a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel issues, student discipline, probable litigation, and security issues.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Ambrose?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes. And there will not be a vote after closed. Thank you.